Liverpool Football Club has always been a place where players aren't just judged by their goals, assists, or statistics, but by their ability to connect with the heartbeat of Anfield, that intangible bond that transforms a footballer into a cult hero. And for Darwin Núñez, the Uruguayan striker whose journey at Liverpool was nothing short of gloriously unpredictable. That connection was built not on perfection, but on passion, chaos, and moments of pure, unfiltered football madness. Today, as we stand on the brink of his departure to Al-Hilal, it's time to look back, to really look back at the whirlwind that was Darwin Núñez's time in a Liverpool shirt, and why his farewell is one that will echo far beyond the pitch. Darwin Núñez did not arrive in silence. His signing in 2022 was one of the most talked about moves in European football. Liverpool, still riding high on their near-historic quadruple chase, needed fresh firepower up front after the departure of Sadio Mane. And in Núñez, they saw something rare, a raw, fearless forward with pace, power, and a knack for finding the net in explosive bursts. Benfica had been his launching pad, where he tore apart defenses in the Champions League. But Anfield was supposed to be his proving ground. And from the moment he stepped into English football, it was clear that Darwin was going to be anything but ordinary. He wasn't just a striker, he was a spectacle. One moment, he'd blast past defenders with a burst of speed you couldn't teach, smash the ball into the top corner, and send the cop into delirium. The next, he'd miss a sitter from 2 yards out and leave fans scratching their heads in disbelief. But that was Darwin, magnificently ridiculous, gloriously unpredictable, and completely incapable of playing safe, risk-free football. He was the embodiment of the phrase chaotic energy, a player who thrived on the edge of control. Yes, he wasn't ruthless in front of goal. In the traditional sense, his finishing numbers often left analysts puzzled, and his conversion rate became a topic for football debates. But the thing about Núñez was that he never hid. If he missed a chance, he was there 5 seconds later making another run, demanding the ball again, refusing to shrink away from the moment. In an era when players can disappear into the background after a mistake, Darwin was always front and center, charging at defenders with the same reckless courage whether he'd just scored a screamer or skied. The ball into Rosy. Liverpool fans quickly learned that Darwin Núñez wasn't going to give them predictable clinical football. He was going to give them theater. Matches with Darwin in the lineup were never dull. His debut season had red cards, tap-ins, thunderbolts, missed sitters, dazzling runs, wild celebrations, and moments where his raw emotion seemed to spill over like an open fire hydrant. He could be frustrating, yes, but he could also be electrifying. In a way, few strikers are. There were games when he felt absolutely unstoppable. Nights when defenders simply could not live with his combination of pace, strength, and chaos. His brace against Southampton, the volley against Fulham, the goal against Real Madrid at Anfield, all snapshots of a player who, on his day, looked like one of the most dangerous forwards in the world. He was unpredictable for opponents because sometimes he was unpredictable even to himself. And then there were the intangibles, the things you can't measure. The way Núñez chased lost causes with the intensity of a man trying to win back not just the ball, but the very meaning of the game. The way he never stopped running, never stopped fighting, never stopped believing he could change the match with his next touch. The way his smile could light up Anfield after a goal, or his head would drop in visible frustration after a miss, making him feel human, relatable, and real in a sport that can sometimes feel overly polished. Liverpool supporters, for all their desire for trophies and perfect football, have always had room in their hearts for the flawed geniuses, the players who made them feel alive. Because they made them feel something, from Luis Suarez's wild brilliance to Fernando Torres' electric pace to even the eccentricities of Mario Balotelli's short stay. There's a certain fondness reserved for those who live on the edge of genius and chaos. Darwin fit right into that tradition, and while he never reached the goal-scoring heights of those before him, he etched his own chapter into Liverpool folklore. His final season in a Liverpool shirt was perhaps the perfect summary of his time here moments of brilliance, moments of frustration, and above all, moments that no one else could have created. As Arne Slot began shaping a new era at Anfield, the writing began to appear on the wall. Rumors of interest from Saudi Arabia started swirling, and soon, Al-Hilal's interest became concrete. For NEZ, it was a chance to become a star in a growing league, and for Liverpool, a chance to reinvest in a squad that is undergoing transition. The announcement of his impending departure has split opinions. Some believe his time was up, that Liverpool needed a more clinical forward to truly challenge for major honors. Others, perhaps the louder voices in the stands, feel like this is a loss not just of a player, but of a personality, a spirit, and an element of unpredictability that made Liverpool's attack uniquely dangerous. Because here's the truth. You can replace goals, you can replace assists, but you can't easily replace a player who makes every game feel like anything could happen. And that's why Darwin Núñez will be missed. Not just because of the times he delivered, and there were plenty, but because of the feeling he brought to the pitch. Football, at its core, is about emotion, about the rush of adrenaline when your striker bursts through on goal, about the groan of enormous, about the roar when the net finally bulges. Darwin gave Liverpool fans all of that, sometimes within the space of 10 minutes. He turned games into roller coasters, and once you've been on that ride, stepping off feels strangely empty. As he prepares to join Al-Hilal, the chapter closes. On a Liverpool career that will be remembered not for perfection, but for personality, he may not have been the perfect striker, but he was a perfect reminder of why we watch football, because it's unpredictable, messy, thrilling, and human. And Darwin Núñez was all of those things rolled into one unforgettable package. So, farewell, Darwin. Farewell to the flying runs down the left channel, the thumping headers, the outrageous misses, the goals that defied logic, and the celebrations that seemed to come from the depths of your soul. Farewell to the player who could frustrate us 1 minute and have us screaming in joy the next. Farewell to the chaos, the unpredictability, and the magic that only you could bring. Liverpool moves on. Al-Hilal awaits. But wherever your career takes you next, know this. In the hearts of many Liverpool fans, you'll always be remembered not as the striker who didn't always score, but as the one who made us believe something incredible was always about to happen. And in football, there's no greater gift than that.